All Blacks against England this weekend, folks. Maybe the game of the weekend. I think the previous 2 weekends we would have given it to the Boks against the French and against the Irish, but third against fifth in the world, it's looking like a pretty tasty fixture. Not one that we get to see that often either. So, yeah, very, very tasty looking. Speaking of things you don't get to see very often, sweaters like these at England Rugby Store. If you want to buy one as a gift, as a punishment for somebody, have at it. They're festive. Link down in the description. England Rugby Store. Lots of gear. Recent history between the sides isn't all that recent. I mean, you got the Rugby World Cup as our most recent result. 19 points to 7. I want to say I don't remember that, but I remember it all too well, sadly. An All Blacks team absolutely nullified. I seem to remember we were lucky to get 7 in that game. But then the previous games are all New Zealand. The other 4 are all New Zealand wins, but you're looking at 2018 and 2014. So, yeah, it's kind of like ancient history. You're talking almost a decade ago for some of these results. It's a pity that New Zealand and England don't meet each other more often, and the fact that we haven't met since the World Cup just kind of speaks to that as well. But it's not unique. We're seeing in this autumn series there's a few teams who are meeting now at the first time since the World Cup as well. So yeah, the recent history, for what it's worth, isn't worth all that much. Now, England, their lineup from the one that beat Japan last week is relatively stable. It's maybe the strongest England team we've seen thus far. The fact that he's put Itoje back at lock makes me feel more comfortable. But it's Genge, Cowan-Dickie and Sinckler in the front row, which is pretty steady as she goes, and I think that's about as good as you get in England. I think if you were to ask most England rugby fans who are your starting props, I don't see many people going with guys other than Sinckler and the old baby Rhino, and then Cowan-Dickie at close range, punishing. He's certainly overtaken George in recent times, so even not recent times really. So that's I think you'd be happy. Then Jonny, Hill and Maro, I think that's your best second row. I think they work well together. You know, different styles of players. Maro is certainly, able to put the dominant hits in, be disruptive at line-out time, disruptive at the breakdown. That's just what he does. And Jonny Hill just chucks that big body of his around, doesn't he? So, yeah, different players, but I think they work well. And then the back row is an interesting one because you got Sam Simmonds, who I don't think I've ever seen play in the number 6 jersey. He plays at number 6 this week. Tom Curry, who we've seen play 6, 7, or 8, is in what I think is his best jersey in 7. And then Billy V is back in the number 8 jersey. So, yeah, man, they've been trying a lot of different back row combos, and sometimes it's a bit injury enforced, but Sam Simmonds at 6 is going to be fun to watch. Like I said, I don't think I've ever seen him start at 6 for Exeter or for England, so it's something else. But the guy is quick. If any New Zealand fans have not seen Sam Simmonds play, the dude is just lightning, and he's got a real knack of burrowing over from close range. Tom Curry's all about his tackles, like 21 last week is something bonkers. And you all know about what Billy V can do from close, medium, long range, man. You give that guy a run up, you're going to pay for it. So, yeah, I think you'd be pretty happy with that forward pack if you're an England fan, albeit a slightly experimentational one with Sam Simmonds at 6. Van Poortvliet and Smith, that's kind of the next generation of England 9-10, isn't it? Ben Youngs is on the bench. Eddie mentioned that he wants that kind of experience to close out the final 20, so that is what it is. But Van Poortvliet stepped up to the international game really nicely. Farrell and Tuilagi 12-13. They did bring up in the press conference with Ian Foster what he thought about Manu Tuilagi, because he seems to have good games against New Zealand, and I don't know what Fozzie is supposed to say to answer that one. Basically, that he knows he's a good player, and they're all going to try and step up. But Tuilagi, they've had to manage his fitness really well because he's been in and out of the England squad numerous times with injuries, but he seems to be fit 3 weeks in a row. So that's really happy days. They seem to be managing him well, and certainly the English midfield looks. I mean, Porter had a good game last week to his credit, but just physically more imposing when Manu's there, even though Manu was kind of quiet a fortnight ago. Wings, Jack Nowell and Johnny May. So that's kind of experienced wing duo, you would say. There's a few young guys who you'd like to see get a crack, but maybe they're not going to chuck those youngsters in to start against New Zealand. And then Freddie, Steward, not well, he is a youngster. I was going to say not exactly old, but he's certainly just taken to the international game like a duck to water. Again, like New Zealand fans, if you haven't seen England since 2019, you wouldn't know Freddie Steward, but the dude is amazing under the high ball, pretty much diffuses everything sent his way. Like last week against Japan, scored a try, 126 metres and 4 defenders beaten. His key to his game is his aerial ball stuff, but he's very good on the counter as well. I should mention it's the 100th cap for Owen Farrell, which is a massive achievement, so big congrats to him for that one as well. Bench-wise, it's George, Vunipola and Stuart, so Stuart comes into the 23. Dave Ribbans is there on the bench as well, alongside Jack Willis, who's back in the squad, so they'll be looking for him to add a bit of potency at the breakdown if he comes on. Ben Young, Guy Porter down to the bench, and then Henry Slade as well. For the All Blacks, they've made a few more changes from the side that played Scotland last week. It's still De Groot at loose head, but it's Cody Taylor who gets a start at hooker, and he just seems to be coming into some good form, which is pleasing. The All Blacks coaches were copping a lot of stick from here in NZ about continuing to play Taylor, who didn't seem to be in the best form of his life, but he's starting to come pretty good. And Tyrell Lomax has been a bit of a revelation this year for us, probably our premier tight head. So I think most New Zealand fans, even though Taukei'aho is our best hooker on the bench, I think no one's going to be complaining too much about the front row, and we'll be excited to see what Taukei'aho can do from the bench because he is pretty devastating. Retallick is back from his suspension, so he's alongside Whitelock in the second row. It's another 100th game, 100th game for Retallick as well, so pretty special for him. So congrats to him and his family as well. That's a big achievement. And him and Sam Whitelock are quite the duo, aren't they? They played a lot of games together. Scotty Barrett shifts to the number 6 jersey, which, if I'm not mistaken, we did in that 2019 game. Put old Scotty B on the number 6 jersey, and it was much criticised after the fact. But then they did play him there at 6 this year when we beat Ireland at Eden Park. So I wouldn't be reading too much into it, but I guess it's an extra line-out option for sure. Big body. Papali'i and Savia, turnovers galore last week, man. I think both of them won 2 each. Got the New Zealanders out of all kinds of trouble when they were on their own goal line against the Scots. So pretty much 2 sevens. So if the English are playing 2 or potentially 3 number 8s, because Sam Simmonds is usually an 8, Billy V is pretty much an 8, and Tom Curry sometimes plays 8, then the All Blacks have got 2 sevens and 3 locks. So take what you want from that. Aaron Smith and Richie Mo'unga are back to the 19 combo. That seems to be Fozzie's preferred one at the minute. And then Jordie Barrett moves to 12, which is a bold move because it wasn't that long ago Jordie couldn't even get a gig at 12. And now in this massive of massive games, Jordie is shifted to 12. Whereas he was at fullback last week. So that's pleasing. He's a big unit himself and a great distributor. Puts in cross kicks from 12 as well. So I like the move. And then Rieko's back at 13 with that gas. I would like to see him run him up because he's quicker than Manu Tuilagi. But he'll have to tackle him too. So that's going to be a fun matchup. All attacking wings with Mark Telea and Caleb Clark. That's pretty much all attack. Like Mark Telea, 2 tries on his debut last week against Scotland, beats 5 defenders, 1 from 4 tackles. And then Caleb Clark, been known to get caught out of position from time to time. So, but ball in hand going forward, class. So very much risk reward. And then Beauden at 15, calm head to keep things calm at the back. He shifts from 10 where he played last week. I mentioned Taukei'aho is going to come off the bench and cause havoc. Bauer, Laulala are proper placements for Zell and Hoskins Tutu. So 2 loose forwards on the bench. I guess because Scotty Barrett's playing, you can move him to lock if needs be. Pettinato, who was great off the bench last week. Bit of experience for halfback cover. Havili and Lienert-Brown also on the bench this week. Both very versatile guys, can cover multiple positions. Stats-wise, the All Blacks have certainly been scoring more tries than the English this year. I think they're averaging more than 4 a game, whereas the English just over a couple. But that being said, the English did score 7 against Japan last week. A Japan side that New Zealand kind of struggled with a wee bit. Not this New Zealand side. And in Japan, admittedly, so it's a different kettle of fish. But just putting it out there, England absolutely put them to the sword. And I wouldn't discount England's boot, man. I mean, they're averaging, I think, 3 or 4 penalties a game. They certainly put Australia to the sword with one of those games. They just punished every indiscretion. And New Zealand do give away more penalties and more yellow cards. So if you're going to infringe, you are probably going to get punished. And you certainly shouldn't discount this English side in terms of their ball and hand stuff. Just because it's not that many tries, they average more metres a carry than the All Blacks guys, which is no easy feat. So the English are getting over 4 metres a carry at 4.2. The All Blacks are 3.9. So not much in it, but 4 is kind of seen as the magic number, right? Anything over 4 is good, and the All Blacks are just shy of it. But there's been a couple of games when the All Blacks have been kept quiet. We'll see which All Black side shows up. Funny thing, I never thought I'd be saying that. The All Blacks are pretty dynamic. I don't want to undersell the All Blacks. They're still a pretty good side, averaging 23 defenders beaten a game to the English's 16. So you do have to be careful. The All Blacks still, even in what has been an underwhelming year from the All Blacks, they still managed to win the Rugby Championship, and they've still managed to do pretty well on their tour so far. And they'll be looking to round it out with a win over England, but at Twickenham, certainly not going to be an easy one. They do go into it though as favourites, marginal favourites. 2 points with the bookies and 4 points with the Rugby Forecast algorithm. So predicted to be a pretty tight game. I think it's a 5:30 local kickoff, evening game. 6:30 in the morning for those of us in New Zealand. So kind of perfect timing. Get up, have your breakfast, sit down, watch some rugby. Matthew Raynell is the ref. Fingers crossed he's having a good game. But you guys let us know your thoughts. What do you reckon? Eddie going to be too good for old Ian Foster with this one? Is he going to have something up his sleeve? Like I said, it's a very strong looking England squad. I might have liked to see one of the young wingers instead of the veterans, but I can see why Eddie's gone with the selections he's gone with. And New Zealand selections are very much the opposite. Not very experienced wingers, but both absolutely all-out attacking machines. But anyway, you guys let us know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.